in other words, the hikite or the pull hand, the most important thing to remember is that the withdrawal reflex is probably next to your startle reflex. It's probably the fastest thing you've got going for you. And those two things I use to initiate my movement. I'm either startled, or I touch something hot, or I've got my hand, if as an animal my limb has been caught in a bramble, or it's gone in mud and I've got to pull it out. So it's the reflex, if you like, which is one which has evolved. And when you pull back, if you're a quadruped and you're on the ground, and I'm on the ground and I pull this one off, I've got to facilitate now an extent. This one has got to reflexly occur.
Otherwise you'll fall down.
Otherwise I'll fall down.
Yeah. Yeah. And the baby does that.
The baby does it. Everybody does. Everybody except you know who. So in other words, the withdrawal reflex will initiate an extensions on the opposite side. Or, are you okay?
I'm just wondering what time it is.
Just.
Okay, sorry, the hikite.
Yeah, so it initiates a cross-extensor reflex. And there's also, you know, as well as if you were a quad, you would take the limb off the ground and put it back on it. And I think that was a term which was referred to as a negative support reflex. I'm not sure.
Okay.
With the cross-extensor, again, it's like if I lift up the knee, that initiates, not only positions the head over the foot to create this extensor, but also that creates a cross-extensor.
Cross-extensor thrust.
Thrust into the ground.
Okay.
So that's an extensor thrust. So if I press on the hand,
yeah,
then you pull back. If I pull that, then I pull back. So when I push on the hand, as a quad, all these reflexes are there to facilitate action, dynamic action, if you know, a dynamic equilibrium of change, if you like, without thinking about it. You can't. A cheetah isn't taught how to walk, or everything is taking place at a reflex level. Right. It's in there. It's hardwired in.
It's just waiting to be stimulated.
It's just waiting to be stimulated. And so, if I withdraw something, I'm going to have to put it back. I can't stay on one fucking limb all my life. So I withdraw it and I put it back. As I'm on that limb, I'm actually extending into the ground. I'm not actually saying I am going to contract my tricep. I'm going to do this. Those things are taking place at a reflex level to prevent the pull of gravity, if you like, to oppose that and to work against, to use it, but also what?
To work against
that. The animal moves, makes its change of position by pressing down against that which is beneath it. What above presses down against that which is beneath, and what's beneath presses back up against what's above. And so you have a withdrawal reflex, the hikite, possibly a more internal explanation of that. Coupled to that, you have abdominal, spinal, ocular, neck, labyrinthine. There's a whole bunch of these reflexes which are operating at a reflex level, which are being stimulated by the movement of your head, by the movement of your body, by gravity, by your surroundings. You know, all those things are happening, so you can interact with the world about you and orientate to you yourself, where limbs are. What's the angle of change? The angle, you know, is the rate, the angle of the sequence of those changes, so that your cerebellum, if you like, can coordinate all that and organize it, so you're balanced. So you have to have all these receptors. You have to have this in order to function, and that's what you really, if you were an internal martial artist in the true sense, that's what you would be addressing.
Right.
Not speculatively, because now as a sport, as a science, it's now being
you can break it down.
It's been defined.
Yeah.
So you can actually go at it and deal with it. But so the hikite, you know, the other idea on the hikite, what to initiate this thrusting of the hand. So we don't want to look at the tackle, but also what a lot of guys do when they stand and they make a punch, one side of their body becomes fixed. You know, it's hard for them, particularly if they're motor orientated, to think in a holistic way, in the sense of information being passed in, so it's being assimilated, and forming a picture of the whole thing you need to do.
Right.
They tend to think, and that this left-hand brain can do that. The right-hand brain can do it. If you pass that information to the right-hand brain, it'll do it better.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what they tend to do is, because they're working on limited language, they're working in language, one move at a time, one thought at a time, one action at a time.
That's all left brain stuff.
That's all they do. That's how they move.
Yeah.
And so they haven't thought that, they haven't thought about this hip
Contributing to that punch.
contributing that punch, or actually getting in the way of it.
Right. Oh, that's what you were saying to me this morning.
This shoulder, you'll see a guy go, and you think, yeah, okay, he's shaking, but he might as well be doing the fucking hula hula. He might as well be a hula hula dancer, because it ain't contributing to what he's trying, whether it's a kick or whether it's a punch or the elbow or what the fuck he's trying to do. So in other words, by coupling forces about an axis, rather like a steering wheel, if I'm holding on that side of the steering wheel, and it don't matter whatever, even if you manage to move it, this force, this
stopping it.
Stopped it.
That's what. Can you explain what you're talking about this morning? Because that's a karate one with that hip stopping things.
Yeah, and it was because they're so they can't consider, they don't know how to coordinate the body as a whole, because they don't know how to entrust the information to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because you don't just do it. You do it. You can just do it, but by being aware of what's actually happening, the breakdown of it, the detailed breakdown of it, those are the components you entrust to the subconscious mind to process.
To work out the details.
To work out the detail. If you're just giving them this, you ain't gonna think about that.
Right.
And so you have to include that in your processing. And what was that thing about you're unconsciously incompetent?
The stages of learning.
Learning.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to go through all of that? Okay.
So
you're consciously incompetent.
Unconsciously.
No, you're unconsciously incompetent. So you don't know how to do something, and you don't even know that you don't know how to do it. Then you try to do it, and you become conscious that you're incompetent. So that's stage 2. Yeah. Stage 3, you're consciously competent.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about it, you can do it, but you have to think about it. Stage 4, you're unconsciously competent. You don't have to think about it. You're driving your car, whatever. And then stage 5 would be mastery.
You're consciously aware of the unconsciousness of an action.
Unconsciously competent. Yeah.
Now I'm not saying stage 5, but you've got to be close to stage 5 in order to translate this detail and entrust it to the unconscious mind and watch it. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
Watch it. Now, if I don't know that this process is important to me, I would focus on this process alone, and I would not forget this at a conscious level. Somehow I've got to let this happen because I've taught it to my body to happen. It wants to happen in that way, so I teach it to happen in that way, and then watch it. And then I can come in and change that joint angular change in rate, sequence rate, and timing. I can do that.